Welcome to Hardback Life.
It's time for stories, sass, and strong opinions.
Let's turn the page. Hi guys, welcome to Hardback Life. It's another solo episode by me, Cassie. It's just schedules. Schedules are rough, guys. Being an adult is rough. Does anybody else feel that? Sometimes, I just don't want to do it. I miss the day. You know what's the worst part about being an adult? Aside from, not getting to see your friends whenever you want, and other things like taxes, I guess. To be fair, those suck. Is having to think about what you're going to make for dinner every day. That just seems to be an adult thing I hate it. I don't if somebody tells me what to make, I'll make. I'm not a great cook. Andrew's a cook. But it's the idea of having to come up with something. That's the worst. Anyway, squirrel moment. We haven't even gotten into anything yet. Adulthood. Okay, anyway, the weirdest sidebar ever. So, yeah, like I said, Becca and I's schedules they're not meshing right now. We're working on it. We were doing Fridays, but now that she's finished grad school, we've kind of had to reorganize. Is that what you would call it? Or relook at our schedule, connecting. Adulting, guys. It is what it is. We'll figure it out eventually, right? We will figure it out. We will get back to it. So yeah, that's that. Last week's episode was a really big catch up for me and the channel. So I don't have a lot of new things to go into. I guess just really what I've been reading since then. I'm currently listening to a Frida McFadden called The Perfect Son, which from the beginning, you think this, I don't want to give it away, but basically the son is not perfect. From the beginning, you're made to think that he is a killer. It can't be him, right? Every Frida book has such a big twist. And I want to say I know what it is. I say that every Frida book, and I get the first twist, but sometimes she even throws in a second twist. So I don't know. But I don't think it's the son who is the murderer. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. That's as far as I've gotten, really, anyway. I don't think it's him. That's all I'm going to say. And then I DNF'd. Did I say this when did I DNF this book? I DNF'd another fiction, guys. It was Jeanette McCurdy's Half His Age. It just made me feel gross. I couldn't do it. But I don't remember if I said that in the last episode. That's 2 fictions now. 3! I forgot. I did another one this week too. I DNF'd Theo of Golden, and I'm actually kind of bummed about that one. I was really looking forward to that one. I love the idea of it. I loved even so the idea is that this guy moves to a town, he's rich. And in one of the cafes, there's portraits of people from the town. And a local artist paints them, and he's buying them back to give to these people. And when he's giving them to the people, they give him a little insight into themselves. And he leaves them with a really powerful message about themselves, what he sees from this portrait of them. And it's beautiful. And I loved it. It is so fucking boring. I was so bored. And there's a little secret. I ended up Googling the ending because I was I'm just bored. I want to know. I want to hear these stories, but I'm bored. So I didn't. I DNF'd, and I'm kind of proud of myself for that. But it was already taking multiple days, and I was I know I'm dragging this out. I'm not really enjoying this. It feels like the writer is a little pretentious. I don't know. It's just a vibe I get. Like I said, I really liked the idea. I wanted to like this book so much. It's been on my list for so long. My brother-in-law hyped it up. My mom just got it. I really was excited. So I'm disappointed. But what are you going to do, I guess? Sometimes you just don't like them. But that was one I really wanted to like. Again, I get why people like it. I love the premise, right? It was just too boring for me. I was bored. Not enough was happening. I'm used to dragons and fae and not all. I read regular romances and regular books. I read classics, sorry. But if I can read a classic, I can do boring. I enjoy classics. But I don't know. Nothing was happening. There was no tension, it was just a story, a regular, hey, this is what happened in my life today kind of story. I was bored. I wanted more. So there was a cool ending, but I did know it. Once I read it, I was oh, this is what it is. And then throughout the book, I'm waiting for more information to come out. It's not coming out. And I made it 42%. I'm waiting for this to come out more. I'm waiting for this to come out more. And it's not. So then I was I'm done. And I Googled it and I was right. Very proud of myself for that. And I think it's fine. It's fine. And currently I'm reading I think I mentioned it on here, an arc called Wench, and it's based on Robin Hood. I'm really enjoying it so far. The chapters are long, which I like quick chapters, but that's just my ADHD, I think. But they're really enjoyable. I'm really enjoying it. We just met who I'm 99.9% sure is going to be the love interest. However, don't trust me because I fell for Tamlin, so don't trust me. Don't ask me. I don't trust him yet. I will say that. I don't trust him yet. I don't trust any male characters until I know for sure. But that's because of Tamlin. So I am really enjoying that one. When I'm finished, I haven't been putting my ARC reviews on Instagram, but I definitely will put this one. I really like it. I'm enjoying it. So if you don't follow our Instagram, you should. Hardback.life. We do reviews on there. I just did one with my nephew where I had him look at, he's 3, so he's not reading, obviously. But I had him look at book covers and be like, what do you think this book should be named? And yes, I did have to bribe him with a munchkin. But I don't care. He enjoyed. He thought it was funny. He made himself laugh a couple times. One that he did know, and I'm so proud of him, was Harry Potter. Because my sister and my brother-in-law do read that to him. He has asked them to stop with the third one. He said the Dementors were too scary. But to be fair, they were reading the illustrated edition. So he was like seeing it, you know? And hey, they are scary. So it's okay, my guy. You'll get to it eventually. But I loved that. I used it to the first Harry Potter book, Sorcerer's Stone cover. So he did know it, and it was so of him. So yeah, if you don't follow us on Instagram, you should. I do try to post TikToks also. It's Hardback Life. It's harder for me to, like, for us to do TikToks. I end up doing most of them, which is fine. Like, I don't care. I just make them on CapCut, to be honest. To be honest. And like, sometimes I think they're so funny, and then they get like 1 like. Like, there's one I made for a dark romance, and I thought it was hysterical. And it literally only got 1 like because I mentioned something to our friend. She was like, I'll like it. And that she's only like, but I thought it was so funny. It was like a POV, and it said, you tell someone, a dark romance reader, says that they wish they could be kidnapped or something along those lines. And then it was like a Ted Lasso, and he's like, something about like, I hope that's a joke. And if it is, it's funny. But if it's not, that's really concerning. And I thought it was so funny, and it didn't get anything aside from grace. And I appreciate that. But I left it up. Sometimes I don't leave up ones that don't do well, but I left it up because I think it's hysterical. So yeah, definitely check out on our Instagram. We do a lot there, but check out the TikTok. It's mostly a Tamlin hate page, if I'm going to be honest. I roast him so hard on there. I hate him. So yeah, check those 2 out. TikTok, Instagram. We also have a Facebook, but anything we post on the Facebook comes from Instagram. So it's like nothing, you know, if you like Facebook, feel free. But if you already follow the Instagram, it's just like I turn on the tab that says like share to Facebook, and it just goes right to Facebook. Yeah, so that's kind of it. That's all I've been reading. However, it's not new. We've mentioned it, but today, when we post this, it'll be Tuesday. So then this Saturday is the Bel Air. I'm going to try that again. Is the Bel Air Book Fair, and I'm so excited. Andrew's coming. He hasn't come to any book event yet. Get to see Becca and Dylan and their son, and I miss them. I miss Maryland, so I'm excited to go back. So if you're around, you should come. It's a free event. There's going to be a lot of authors, a lot of cool stuff. We've met some really cool people already, like that we now are working with through this, but like I'm excited to meet more people through this. So if you are around in Bel Air or close to Bel Air, Maryland, absolutely go, and we'll see you there, right? Yeah, so now that's it. For reals. I think today's episode is funny. Again, though, I think things are funny, and other people don't necessarily think they're funny. But I think today's is funny. I'm going to give you book recs based on your favorite 90s heartthrobs. So I did all men, so sorry to our guy listeners. If the guys like this, I could do females. I'll ask Andrew to name his favorite 90s heartthrobs. Are they called heartthrobs if they're females? I don't know, but I can do it. If men watch this and would enjoy that, let me know. I'll do that. But they are all men this time around, sorry. But they're, like I said, book recs based on your favorite 90s heartthrobs. I stuck to their work just in the 90s, even though all of them either continued into the early 2000s or are still going strong today. I really tried to stick to just the 90s, which was hard. Because some of them, once I thought of it, I was like, oh, I really like your early 2000s stuff better. But it's fine. It's fine. We're doing the 90s and we're sticking to it. I was a little young in the 90s to appreciate any of them until later in my life. Like, I was born in 94. So all of these are men I appreciate later in my life, but I know that they're big from the 90s, you know? Okay, so number 1, and this is the epitome of, he was in the 90s, he did stuff in the 90s, but still to this day, like, heartthrob, love him. It's Paul Rudd. I love that man. And he ages backwards, if at all, and I don't understand that, and it's not fair. But I love him. So some of his big 90s stuff, I didn't write all of their 90s stuff, but some of his bigger ones are Clueless, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, probably. Clueless, Object of My Affection, and Overnight Delivery. And they're all like romantic comedies. But so really I based his off Clueless because I didn't see the other ones. Again, I know more of his like 2000 stuff and obviously like his today stuff. But he's always the love interest, right? But he's like serious to everybody but the female. And he's goofy with her and he gets really sincere with her, but also like can make her laugh. Like that's just kind of the vibe he gives. Now, in the real world, I feel like he makes everybody laugh and everybody falls for him. But like in those movies, like he was like a serious, like I remember the one scene in Clueless and he had a beret on and he went to like an art movie festival or something like that. Like that's just the kind of role he played. So, but he's also the king of green flags and he is playful with the woman he likes, right? So this is a hear me out one because I really can make this series connect to anybody if I try hard enough. Anybody or anything. And it's ACOTAR. But specific, Andrew he sighed in the hallway. Specifically, I relate him to Cassian, which Cassian's goofy with everybody, but like he can be like that, right? But Cassian is like a walking green flag. He's playful, he teases a lot, but he is so fiercely caring about the people around him and specifically like his love interest and, would burn bridges for them. And I just feel like that's Paul Rudd's energy. So yes, ACOTAR, but specifically like Silver Flames ACOTAR if we want to go hard. Like he is Cassian. Not like I don't want him to play Cassian in the movie or the TV show or anything if they ever do that. Don't do that. But that's Paul Rudd, right? That's his energy. Yeah. Like he's going to annoy you on purpose and he's going to be a dick about things on purpose, but you love him anyway. And that's just what I get out of Paul Rudd, especially in the 90s. But also still, like, let's be honest. Next, Heartthrob. Again, so I liked his one, I don't know if this is his biggest movie in the 90s, but She's All That was, again, it's one of my favorites. I love that movie. But the other big one that he did was I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I'm not a scary movie person, so I don't really know much about that one. So I am kind of basing this off more of She's All That. And then like when I looked up I Know What You Did Last Summer because again I didn't watch it. So I'm giving Freddie Prinze Jr. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry because he is confident like Hayden, but he's not cocky. Like Hayden knew he was good and he can stand on that hill, but he's not like a dick about it, And She's All That was definitely him. Like he knew he was a good football player. He knew he was attractive. He knew he was popular. But he wasn't really ever a dick about it. Like his one friend, in that movie, and I don't remember any of the characters' names at the moment, but his one friend was an asshole. But Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character never was. And I feel like that kind of just is him. Like, I know this is not 90s, it's 2000s, but even in like Scooby-Doo, he knew he was attractive. And every now and then he'd get like a little cocky comment out, but like still, he was a very nice person. So Hayden's a little bit, not darker, but quieter. I think more reserved. But I still think it's a good fit if that's the kind of guy you like. Like he's confident. He knows he's good at things. But he also knows like he got dealt a good hand. You know what I mean? So that's why I went with Great Big Beautiful Life. I love that book. However, still the only Emily Henry I've ever read. So I do need to put more on my list. But we'll get there. I will say I have read all of the ones that I recommend. So they're all like at least 3 stars to me, at least 3, because I think 3 is like a good read still. So yeah. Next is Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World. He played Sean Hunter. Forgot his last name for a minute. Sean Hunter. He's like the sidekick. He's fiercely protective of people he loves, like fiercely. He's really down on himself, but he'll hype anybody else up, even though he's adorable. I loved him. So this is another like hear me out one, I think. Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. And there's a co-writer and I'm so sorry I forget her name, but I am going to put the books up and the pictures obviously just in case you need like a little memory jog. So I would say Mad Honey because I relate Asher to Sean Hunter. So even though we never get his point of view, we know a lot about him because the 2 point of views we get kind of center around him. So he comes from this background of like his dad abused his mom. He grew up with a single mom, but he, as he grew up, made a lot of friends. He was good at sports. I don't know if Sean ever did sports. I don't think he did. But that's beside the point. That's not really why I picked him. In Mad Honey, Asher gets into trouble, legal trouble really, over something, and he has a secret about the person. And he could get himself out of trouble so easily if he just told this person's secret. But he won't. He won't say it. He won't tell anybody. And it ends up coming out like in a big way. And he goes, I'm not going to say what happens, but it comes out and it's not by him. And when people ask, why didn't you just say that? Like why didn't you ever mention that? He's like, it wasn't my secret to tell. It has nothing to do with me. And that would have been Sean. Like Sean would have taken the heat for something if it meant keeping somebody's secret. And with this secret in mind, what it is, he would never judge a person based on this. And I think Sean is the same way, where he knows what it feels like to be judged. He knows what it feels like to be different than other people. And he would never judge anybody or make them feel uncomfortable or say anything negative about them just because of said secret. I'm not going to give it away. It's like a big reveal in the book. But that is absolutely Sean Hunter. Like keeping a secret, even if you're going to go to jail. That is Sean Hunter. All right, next. This one was a little bit harder, again, because I picked him because I love him. But I didn't realize that what I love him from is mostly the 2000s. And that is Matthew Lillard. I love, like, Scooby-Doo. Even Freddie Prinze Jr., like I just said, Scooby-Doo was my shit. That movie. So he did Scream, which is like, I feel like maybe one of his biggest or first biggest ones. She's All That again. That's so funny. I actually just realized that they were in She's All That and Scooby-Doo together. I guess I knew that, but it just kind of clicked with me. And then Hackers, some other like silly, goofy ones. But I ended up going with a thriller because I just feel like Scream is like, a lot of people, when you think of Matthew Lillard, you think of Scream. Again, I've never seen it because I don't like scary things, but that's kind of what you think of, right? Or maybe not. Maybe you think of his goofy stuff. I don't know. 90s Matthew Lillard. I feel like I would think of Scream. I don't know. But that's what I went with. So I think if you like him, I guess if you specifically like him in Scream, I would recommend The Housemaid. I know normally he's goofy. Normally he's funny. He's silly. But I think 90s Matthew Lillard, specifically Housemaid. Of course, early 2000s, I would go with something way goofier. But these are 90s heartthrobs. 90s. So we're sticking to it. Yeah, his was pretty simple. I figured a thriller. And then I do feel like The Housemaid works because the husband, I don't want to give anything away, but you could just see it. Make him put him in as a husband as you're reading it. You see it. I love him, though. I love all of these men. That's why I picked them. Then next, I struggle with his last name. So bear with me. But it's Mark Paul Gosselaar, I think is how you say it. Could be wrong. He is Zach from Saved by the Bell, which technically I know like the young years were in the 80s, but it did go into the 90s. So I'm going with him because that was my favorite show. I loved Saved by the Bell. Loved it. I watched it every morning. Loved it. So he, I feel like, is super charming. He's a ladies' man. He's confident. He knows he's funny. He knows he can get away with anything. He always had the latest gadget because his parents had money. So I feel like if you liked Zach or Mark, his real name, you might have grown into somebody who really enjoys morally questionable men. Because Zach a lot of times was questionable. A little bit. So your book recommendation is Lights Out. I think like he's charming. But if he, like, I can, if Saved by the Bell were made now, like I could see him being like, I really like this girl, but I want her to like me for me and not for like, in Lights Out, it's sensationalizing like what his father did. And he's like, I wanna, so I can picture it. And he absolutely would be making thirst traps on TikTok. Absolutely. So yeah, Lights Out. Morally questionable. And here's the thing with Lights Out is like, if you're not into dark romance, I do say this is a good starting one because she thinks she knows and she happens to be correct who it is almost from the get-go. So it's dark and he thinks he's being sketchier, but she instantly is like, I know who this is, so I'm good with it type of thing. So I think that's a good one to start with anyway. Yeah, I thought that one was so funny. Like I really thought that fit. But again, I think things are funny and other people don't. So next, this is my last one, but then I have an honorable mention who I really wanted to include but couldn't think of a good book for. So our last one, also from Saved by the Bell, because again, my favorite is Mario Lopez. Again, they're all still very attractive. Like don't know if heartthrob is still a word anymore, but like, I mean, I know it's a word, but is it like, it's not like a vernacular. Like, we don't really say groovy anymore, you know? So Mario Lopez, again, from Saved by the Bell, just the big one I'm going off of for him. And I went with Play Along from the Windy City series. I think it's a sports series. And the reason I did this and Play Along specifically was because he is a jock. I mean, that was Slater's thing on the show, right? He's a jock. He is confident, borderline cocky because of how good he is, but like not overly. Like he's not somebody you don't like because of how cocky he is. But the thing about Slater is he always falls really hard for the girl. And he, even if they irritated him, like I'm not gonna lie, Jessie on Saved by the Bell was not always kind. Like she was a lot. She was a lot and be a lot. Like you were great. Jessie was great. She was valedictorian. She knew her worth, right? He followed her around like a puppy dog. And I feel like Play Along, I can give you the premise without giving too much away. The baseball, I don't know any of the characters' names off the top of my head. I read it a while ago. But it's a baseball player who like has a really big thing for their new athletic trainer. They end up like meeting in Vegas and accidentally like drunkenly getting married. And she wants to get a divorce, but she knows it'll look bad because she's a female athletic trainer and her bosses are dicks. So she's like, I can't, like everybody's going to find out. Everybody's going to find out we got married. He's like, all right, then just let them think we got married. We'll do things together, blah, blah, blah. So I can picture Slater doing that, like liking somebody so much they accidentally got married in Vegas. He would like try and turn that into like a positive and a way to like woo the woman. So yeah, I think that worked. And again, the baseball player was a great baseball player, right? But he would again make little jokes here and there, but he was never like super cocky about it. I'm talking with my hands a lot this episode, I'm realizing. They've been up a lot in the camera's view. So yeah, that's why I went with that one. And I think honestly, guys, not to like toot my own horn or anything, I think these book recs are pretty good. Like to compare like some of their characters to the character I then picked for them, right? Now, the one I really struggle to think of, and maybe it's because more of like I've grown out of finding him to be a heartthrob just because he's gotten a little weird. I don't know, but Will Smith. Like I adored that man in Fresh Prince. I really wanted to come up with a good book rec for him, especially like I said in Fresh Prince. I just couldn't really think of any. And also like Will in Fresh Prince is such a special kind of goofy that I couldn't really think of an MMC that would match him. Like he is so family oriented, but so goofy. And I really struggled to even think of one that would do justice to what Will was. The episode where his dad showed up out of nowhere and and he was, you know, a teenager, but still made all these promises. They were going to do all these things together. And then the dad showed up and Will wasn't there. And the dad was like, great to Phil. He was like, you could just tell him like, I'm out. Like, I gotta go. And Phil's like, you can't do this to him again. Like, you know, you've gotten him so excited. And then he leaves anyway because he's an asshole. And then Phil has to tell him and Will's like, I don't need him. I don't need him for anything. And he just gets emotional and it just breaks my heart. Yeah, I feel like I couldn't think of one that like really encapsulated him. He's so goofy, but he's so sentimental, I guess, like sensitive. Will was a sensitive guy in the 90s. So yeah, I struggled with that. I couldn't think of a good book. So I kind of left that one alone. But I wanted to honorable mention him because I did love him. And we cannot talk about the 90s and not talk about Fresh Prince and Will Smith, right? So yeah, that's why. Those were the book recs. Those were all of them that I had. I could have done a couple more. I thought about doing Keanu Reeves, but I definitely don't know enough about his 90s work. Like, I really only know him. I mean, I know he's in The Matrix. Like, I know that. I've just never seen The Matrix. I love him in The Replacements. That's like the only movie. And Speed, was he in Speed? Like the bus one? Maybe that's not even what it's called. I don't know. But I don't know enough about him to like do that. I wanted to do the one guy but again, this was the 2000s. That's why I didn't. I think he was more famous in the 2000s. The Princess Diaries, the like one she really liked. And then he took her to the beach thing and like left her there. Or no. He like tried to kiss her with the camera looking down at her and he was like, we don't like him. But again, that was 2000s. It was hard. Maybe I should do a 2000s one. I feel like that would be easier. And that's kind of more like they're mine, you know? But Paul Rudd would make the list again. I would have to take Mark and Mario off because they are like 90s very specifically. Yeah, I might have to do a 2000s next. Maybe 90s. No, yeah, have to do 2000s next. So since I did like all Heartthrobs. I thought I would continue the idea of like a book boyfriend type thing into the game, which also was hard to think of a game because I'm by myself. So I did a book boyfriend superlatives. I wrote down the categories. I did not think of people yet. I wanted to save that for recording. The one who would protect you. So the book boyfriend that would protect you. I really do think that is like a trait of all of them, especially like romantic-y ones. That's where my brain goes first. But I'm going to go with Zaid from Haunting Adeline because of how fiercely I feel like I use that word a lot this time, fiercely. But he was like fiercely protective of her. I mean, the whole second book is trying to get back, like trying to protect her and get back to her, right? So the one who would protect her, I would say Zaid. And I forget his last name, but that's who I would go with. And I don't know how I feel that that's the first one that comes to mind because he also stalked her and murdered people, but that's the one that comes to mind. Again, back to those morally gray men, right? The one who would make you laugh. See, this is not all of them. Like Reese from ACOTAR would not make me laugh. And I feel like I can't say Cassian, but I want to say Cassian because he does make me laugh when I'm reading the books. And I love him. It would make me laugh. Vajovic, I do just love him. Guys, sometimes I talk about ACOTAR so much and I'm like, people are really going to hate this. I have to stop. I have to talk about other things and other characters. But I'm like Katie Herring in Mean Girls, where it's just like word vomit. She does it about Regina George. I do it about ACOTAR. It just comes out. I can't stop it. Can't catch it. Maybe I'll just keep Cassian for this one. The one who would make me laugh. A lot of them. Even the character in like Play Along, like he was silly, he was funny. I can't remember his name. Liam in Fourth Wing. That would be a good one for that too. But he hurts my heart to talk about, honestly. I'm looking at my shelf. Not that I could see any of those from here. Yeah, I guess Cassian or the one from Play Along I'm going to go with. One I'd want to go on a date with. I mean, any of them. Cassian, not Reese. Hunt Athalar, absolutely. Maybe I'll go with him for that. How did I not connect him to anybody today? Definitely Hunt. Definitely Cassian. Hayden from Great Big Beautiful Life. Not Zaid. I would not want to go for him. Go on a date with him. Trying to think of some other ones I've read recently that would be good. I don't know. I'm like, because these books are, I just talked about them. They're all what's on the tip of my brain. Zayden. Who would not, though, with that one? Maybe Kit or Kai, honestly. Kit before, in the first book only, though. That one would be Powerless from Powerless. Kit only from the first book, but also Kai from any of the books. Atticus Finch. I would definitely go on a date with Atticus Finch. Let's be honest. I love that one. Atticus Finch. Trust with my secrets. Again, I feel like any of them would be pretty good at that. No, I'm going to take that back. I don't think the sports romance ones would because they really confide in their teammates like real heavily. So I don't think I'd say them. Like no sports romance guy. They tell their teammates everything. Reese, I feel like would be from here it comes again. Word vomit. Didn't even think about it. Reese from ACOTAR, I feel like would be really good at keeping secrets. Az from ACOTAR would be really good at keeping secrets. Zayden, because he has so many of his own. He would be so good at keeping secrets. Maybe Kingfisher. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him. I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided if I should read that second book yet. For anybody who doesn't know, that's Quicksilver. Kingfisher's from Quicksilver. It was okay, I guess. Like I wanted to like it more than I did, and maybe that's what I struggle with. So I haven't decided if I'm going to read Brimstone or not. Keep my secrets. I was going to say Cross from Silverleaf and Broken Dove, but I don't know if I trust him to keep my secrets. Oh, you know who? Sage from Captive of the Wild Hunt. And it's disappointing because not enough people are going to get that reference, but absolutely Sage. He's also in Bane of the Wild Hunt and Wrath of the Wild Hunt. He's like arguably one of the most important male characters because there's a lot. Yeah, he would definitely keep your secrets. I would trust him with my secrets. All of you should go read that series, by the way. That author's going to be on soon. I'm still so fangirling over that. A.A. Gordon, she's going to be on. I can't wait to talk to her. Yeah, I would trust Sage with my secrets. I cannot wait to talk to A.A. Gordon about those books. Yeah. All right, last one. Who would I want to avoid in real life? Tamlin. Again, there it is. Look, guys, it comes out. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. Definitely Tamlin. I'm not going to lie. The one from Jane Eyre, Mr. Rochester, Edward Rochester, I would avoid him in real life. He seems great for Jane, I guess, but he seems kind of like a creepy dick. So I would avoid him in real life. Tamlin, like I said, I would definitely avoid him in real life. Lorcan, I would avoid it in real life. I don't care what anybody says. I hate him. I hate him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he was ever redeemed. I don't think it's possible for him to be redeemed. I don't like Lorcan. Yeah, those would be the ones I'd avoid, I guess. Tamlin, Lorcan, and Mr. Rochester. Mr. Rochester, like I said, he's just like creepy and mean. Like I'm glad he ended up with Jane Eyre because she wanted to end up with him, but like I don't like him. I love the book though. Yeah, that would be it. So that was my like book superlatives for MMC's book boyfriends, whatever you want to call them. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little, I guess it's a kind of niche. Like you gotta like 90s heartthrobs for this one and book boyfriends, obviously. So I hope you enjoyed it. I mentioned this earlier, but if you're not already, follow our Instagram, follow our TikTok, subscribe on YouTube. We have our website. Especially for authors, you could put in like requests to come on the podcast. Subscribe. Did I say that? Subscribe on our YouTube. Then wherever you're listening or watching, if you're on YouTube. So Apple or Spotify, make sure you like it, rate it would be very helpful. Leave comments, share it. That would be so great and kind. And we would really appreciate that. And if you're around, like I said, this will come out on Tuesday. If you're around on Saturday and you're local to Bel Air, Maryland, stop by the Bel Air Book Fair and we'll see you there. Other than that, until next chapter, stay cunning, stay brave, and remember you are your own high lady. Bye, guys.